and welcome to the Sage Goddess June New Moon Ritual. We have a gorgeous new moon tonight in Gemini. How fitting is that? So we have our sun and our moon in this planet of sacred duality. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about integration, how to balance your light and your shadow. And the timing, honestly, you guys, could not be more divine. We're also coming up on summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, obviously you're coming up upon Yule. And those are the two midpoints of the year when nature finds her balance. And nature is always a mirror to you. So if the work that she's doing right now is finding and articulating and appreciating her own sacred balance, then you know that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're right on time. Tonight we're going to be working with your duality candles, which came in your beautiful new moon set. So we're going to be lighting one candle to integrate and balance your light and another candle to integrate and balance your shadow. And I'm going to be giving you a different framework to think about those two energies in this ritual, which I think you'll enjoy. Your duality perfume that we're anointing with, gardenia, which is for sensuality, inner truth. Sandalwood, which is about transforming your sense of place and space. Sandalwood is really powerful for meditation because it drops you into a deeper state of conscious awareness. Tonka bean, which is good luck, prosperity. And so all of the energies are present. And again, to create balance within this the space of Gemini, which is so much about balance, you have to have everything present. And then your work becomes to strike a balance between, the one end of the spectrum and the other. So that's what we're doing tonight. Your gemstone sets, you have beautiful diopside. We had never had diopside palm stones like this for you before, and we put our beautiful Gemini symbol on it. Diopside is for journey work, wisdom, discernment, passion, and completion of cycles. And so if you're finishing a cycle, and a lot of you are, every 7 years, every cell in your body regenerates, everything about you becomes something different. And it's really funny because we don't talk about that. I mean, culturally, it's almost like we don't believe it. And yet it's true that we go through these cycles of regeneration physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So that's holding space for that. Blue kyanite blade, which is a physical talisman of balance. Kyanite, of course, balances the energy in your system and aligns all 7 of your chakras, including the 2 chakras that are outside of your physical container, which are the soul star and the earth star chakra below you. Amethyst, which is about peace and equilibrium. Do you need some equilibrium? I think we all need equilibrium right now. And then you have a natural piece of fluorite, which I love that it's natural. It's got a nice flat edge. You can put it on your third eye. You can put it on your heart chakra. Fluorite is the Dharma stone for understanding why you're here, like your purpose for being. And so that's a really powerful one for you too. It also really enhances your intuition. So those are our tools. I'm going to smudge for just a second, just to kind of kick us off. Beautiful Salvia Appiana white sage. It's the most traditional smudge. And one of the things I really want to encourage you, I try to teach you little bits as we go too, and so even though this isn't about new moon, it's really about proper ritual protocol. Always burn your herbs in a heat-proof dish. I really like abalone shells. It's very traditional, and in fact, it really comes from a Native American practice where you want to engage or represent all 4 elements when you're smudging. Obviously, when you burn your sage, when you work with the smoke, you're working with the element of air. The lighting of it itself, the ignition of it is the element of fire. Sage comes from earth, and so that's earth itself. And then the shell, of course, represents water. There isn't really a way to represent water element in a sage bundle because the whole process is to gather herbs and burn them. And so the shell itself becomes the container that represents that Western water energy. And so that's why we love our shell. And then never throw your sage ash away. It's every part of the sage plant is sacred. The seeds are sacred, the ash is sacred, and so you always want to save your ash. Yeah, we like to save ours around here in little Ziploc baggies until we have a full bag, and then take them out to your garden. You either want to bury them in the east, or what we're doing is actually returning our sage ash to our sage plants, and they've been thriving. So just a little bit of inspiration for you. And it's really interesting because the thought process behind it is we return the ash at the base of the plant, you're really completing the full life cycle of that plant. So it grew, it lived, we cut it, we burned it ritually. And returning the ash, I think, is not only a good source of nutrients for the plant, but it's also just a really beautiful way to seal and close that cycle of life. So what a beautiful offering back to nature. I have a uh, labradorite wand. Of course, labradorite is the stone of the new moon. And so I'm going to be working with my wand tonight, which is tipped in Lemurian quartz with record keepers. And so that's the tool I'm using. I always recommend you have some form of labradorite with you for new moon, in addition to whatever intention-based stones we're working with, like the stones for Gemini tonight. I think having labradorite is also important. Labradorite, what labradorite does is it represents visioning in the darkness. If you think about what a new moon is, and our ancestors both appreciated the new moon and sort of dreaded it because they had to function without light. There was no natural source of light. And so at the new moon, it was this sort of mysterious darkness, and what did it represent, and what were we supposed to learn from it, and why did the gods do this? You know what I mean? Like, why did they take our light away, and what did it mean? What we know now, of course, is that Luna goes through her cycles. And the dark cycle is meant to be assigned to you to really strengthen and rely upon your inner light, your inner sense of guidance and direction, your intuition. And so the more you can do that at the new moon, the more likely you are to manifest what you desire and have something really great to celebrate at the full moon, which is the opposite. You know, the new moon is setting intentions in the darkness and releasing back to the earth or into the water what, you know, no longer serves you. The full moon is about celebrating the fullness and completion of a cycle. And so we go through these loops with Luna, usually about 13 times a year, right? And so, and that extra blue moon or that extra full moon is known as the blue moon. Okay. So if you have your tools, I'm going to open our beautiful circle. Guardians of the East. You know, Gemini is a beautiful air sign. And so Guardians of the East love it when the moon is sitting in an air sign as well. So Guardians of the East, we're so grateful for the new beginning tonight. The balance that can be struck to bring us deeper peace and alignment to our purpose for being here in this lifetime. So we welcome you to the circle this evening. Guardians of the South. Very little of tonight is about fire, and yet it's going to take fire. It's going to take courage. Once we balance these energies and acknowledge our sacred dualities, we're going to set two intentions tonight. One that recognizes more of your light, your soul gifts in the light, and one that honors more of your shadow, more of the sides of you that are unacknowledged, because we want to bring both of those sides of you forward. I heard someone say something really smart, and I'll tell you more about it after the invocation, the closing or the opening of the circle, but it's really interesting as it relates to fire and how you work with the elements. So we welcome those Guardians of the South to the circle tonight. Guardians of the West. We need this emotional purification. We need to release what isn't serving us and acknowledge that balance must be struck. If we are out of balance tonight, Guardians of the West, we ask that you bring us back into balance. Help us to ride the wave of alignment toward a place of centered peace within ourselves. And we welcome you to the circle tonight. And then Guardians of the Northern Gateway, this is ancestral energy, deep wisdom. In the new moon, the Guardians of the Northern Gateway are really your guardians through the darkness and the dark channel. And so we trust you tonight, Guardians of the North, to bring through the wisdom of the ancestors to help infuse and inspire our intentions as we set them together tonight. Help to stabilize and ground our work together. We're grateful for your presence. We welcome you into the circle. And so with that, our beautiful circle is open. All of the quadrants are held. I'm going to do a second round of just opening the circle with my labradorite wand. And then I'm going to begin opening the circle, connecting you and me, and just calling in the energy of everything that all of us are seeking tonight. One of the things you should think about at the new moon is, because you and I are one, there really aren't a lot of intentions you set that aren't also intentions for me and our planet. There's a mutuality to energetic work. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that. There's this beautiful quote by Rumi, right? Like, what you seek is seeking you. And I think there's so much truth to it. When you want something, it's usually because the universe has seeded you with that desire. And so tonight, let's just accept with gratitude all that the universe has already sent to you, everything that it's already on its way to you. And we give thanks for blessings, for offerings, for gifts, for sacred gestures from the universe that are already arriving. And we just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So what I was going to share with you about intention setting is I want you to think about setting an intention, a really powerful one, as making a decision, as saying yes to something. I kind of want to reframe your thinking tonight. It's just based on something that someone said, and I thought it was really, really smart about making choices in your life. And the fact that when you say yes to something, yes is a powerful word. You shouldn't use it, frivolously. When you say yes, you're putting your whole energetic weight behind a project or a decision or an energy stream, and that warrants serious consideration on your part, and you should recognize that your yes is a gift. And so tonight, instead of just thinking, what intention am I setting with her? It's new moon. We do this every month. I want you to think about, what is your big yes right now? When you decide that you want something, wheels are set in motion to bring it to you. And so make sure that you are setting intentions, saying yes to things that are in greater alignment with your purpose for being here, greater alignment with peace and balance and love and prosperity in your life. And then always leave the universe a little loophole. What I like to say is this or something better, because that gives the universe permission to maybe not give you exactly what you're looking for, because you don't realize that it's not quite what you want or need. The universe sometimes will say things to me like, you're asking for A, but what you really want is B. Can I just give you B? Like, I see where you're going, and if you can just be patient and wait a year, I have something better for you. To which, of course, the answer is always yes, because the universe knows what you need, and its timing is always divine. Okay, so let's anoint with our beautiful Duality perfume. As we anoint the left arm, which for me is my projecting arm, masculine energy, I'm going to think about what energy I'm sending out in the universe right now. I'm just becoming conscious of that. And right now, tonight, just sending energies of peace, joy, harmony, prosperity, acceptance, integration of balance, the duality. And then I'm going to think about what energy I'm calling in or receiving. What are you consciously receiving? What's your yes? It's Gemini time, so you can have 2 yeses. What are your 2 yeses? Say yes twice. So good. And then 3 deep inhales of that sandalwood, gardenia, tonka bean magic. It's intoxicating, isn't it? It's good medicine right there. Whew. And then I always like to choose 2 stones to work with. The diopside really is powerful for me. Diopside comes from the Greek word meaning dual sight. So diopside is also thought to be a stone that if you work with it will show you any place you're being deceived, any place where you're missing, facts or information. Diopside can be a really powerful visioning stone. And then I have just felt so connected to my fluorite ever since I opened my set. So I'm not going to work with amethyst and kyanite tonight, but I'm keeping them here so that they are able to receive and hold the energy of the ritual that we're doing together. Okay. All right. Are you ready? Roll your shoulders back. And so, because we're working with duality tonight and Gemini energy, and the moon in Gemini is unstable. Don't look for stability right here. You're not going to find it. The moon in Gemini is sort of in and out and in and out. And then she talks and then she's quiet. And then she talks and then she's quiet. So you got to ride her wave. This isn't your ride. And that's how it is with Gemini people. That's how it is with a Gemini full moon. So this isn't just a new moon situation. This is just more broadly how Gemini energy tends to work. And so I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to, with your receiving hand, I want you to extend your hand out toward mine. And I want you to set an intention tonight under this beautiful new moon for what it is that you are going to offer to the world. What is your intention for the planet? What is your intention for your community? What is your intention for your family? What is your broader intention that is outside of you? Mine is for joy. I would like to see the world experience more joy right now. Lightheartedness, I guess is what I would say, more play. So I think play is creative and generative. It's the opposite of destructive, right? So I'd like to see more play. And then I want you to, with your right hand, I want you to think about an intention that you are receiving from your community, from the planet. What are you calling up What energy do you need from the planet, from your spirit guides, from your community? What do you need right now? Do you need to be seen? Do you need to be accepted? Are you looking for prosperity? What is it from outside forces that you are summoning right now? And I want you to put your hands together, bring them into prayer pose, and just bring them towards your third eye. And great spirit guides of this dark moon phase, we ask that you see us tonight, the blessings we are sending and calling in. Please use the energy that we raise during this ritual to help support and nourish all of us and our community and the planet as well. Amen, aho, and so it is. Okay. So tonight we are setting intentions for truth and for spiritual connection. Your truth is going to be the intention you're setting around your shadow, because truth requires that you integrate all the parts of yourself that you hide, the parts of yourself that you don't feel like are safe or acceptable. That's what truth requires, and that's why it's in this beautiful light blue sort of throat chakra color. Then we're going to set an intention for your spiritual advancement and connection. And that's going to be your intention that brings you more into the light. So the lighter aspects of yourself, the essence of you that is love, that is peace, that is harmony. That's the other intention we're going to set. So one intention that's going to bring you deeper into truth, and one intention that's going to bring you deeper into contact with Source. Are you ready? Okay. So first, let's acknowledge what you need to intend to come into deeper alignment with truth. What is your intention in your life that honors the part of you or parts of you you might be repressing? Maybe it's a need or a desire or a longing that you've had a really hard time expressing. Maybe it got rejected by someone a long time ago and you thought, I'm not gonna want that anymore. I'll just set that aside. Maybe it's not meant for me. Have you ever had that feeling before? Because most of us have. And then we're like, oh, it's okay, maybe in the next lifetime or maybe down the road or whatever. Let's open that box tonight. Are you ready for that? Okay, so figure out what that is, the half of your duality that honors your truth. And then I want you to take your fluorite. You can either place it on your heart or on your third eye. And I want you to visualize what that intention looks like. If that were to come to pass, how would events unfold for the highest good of all involved? And we give thanks for this inspiration, for the ability to connect with our desires that may have been repressed for a very long time, with parts of ourselves that we may have been denying or not wanting to explore or work with for a very long time. And don't be afraid, I'm super proud of you because this is not easy to do. It's very easy to acknowledge the things that you want that are out in the open, that, are going to advance your soul path. Everybody wants you to manifest those things. It's a little bit harder and trickier to work with truth and to acknowledge that you have some desires that may have been sublimated, right, for whatever reason over the course of your life, but those desires are still there. And they're there for a reason. You're supposed to have them. So now, can you set an intention to receive them? Ooh. And so, Great Spirit, guides of this dark moon phase, we ask that you see our intention tonight for integration of the shadow, integration that works toward our higher truth, and that you allow it to come to pass in perfect time and in divine alignment with our intentions and with the highest good of the soul path of all involved. And when you're ready, you can extinguish that candle. And watch your smoke. So good. When you stop during ritual and you take the time to do something like that, to watch the smoke, it deepens your meditation. It may seem like it throttles or slows down the process, but what it actually does is it brings you even more deeply into a broader state of conscious awareness, and it allows you to soften more. If you have anxiety around any part of the ritual, it sort of relieves that. So just give yourself this moment just to breathe and watch your smoke, or watch my smoke if you're not burning a candle, and just see if you don't soften and feel more at peace. So, okay, and now for the other side, we are going to light the candle that calls in the intention that brings us closer to our soul path and purpose. And so, Great Spirit, guides and guardians of this darker moon phase, we ask that you acknowledge our intention that will bring us closer to our soul's true purpose. What is that for you? What's going to bring you closer to your reason for being here? What emotion, what experience, what event, what relationship, what conversation, what's missing? What's missing? When you think about your relationship with God or your creator or goddess, or however you think of the one source, when you think about that, do you see obstacles? Do you think, well, I would be closer to God if, or I would spend more time in prayer if? Is it time? Is it resources? Is it space? Like, what is it? And how can we work to remove some of those obstacles to bring you closer, right, to where you need to be? So we can also release tonight at the new moon. It's a perfect releasing phase. So what do you need to let go of? Is it judgments? Like, some of us in our line have judgments about certain spiritual paths or practices, and maybe you have to release some of that, right? Like, it becomes sort of hardened on you. It calcifies in your energy field, and then you got to scrape that stuff off in order to get back to what's whole and pure and good. Does that make sense? All right, whatever it is, spirit guides of this moon phase, guardian angels and archangels, ascended masters, ancestors who are working with us tonight in this capacity, we ask that you manifest this intention to bring us closer to source, to bring us closer to our creator, in perfect time and in deep alignment with the highest good of all involved. And then take your, I'm using my diopside for this piece so I can see both sides, to your third eye or to your heart. Diopside is such a powerful heart chakra stone that it really has to go in the bra, or at least close to the bra. What is your heart's deeper truth? Maybe you don't know. You don't have to know right now, but that can be a really beautiful intention, especially under this Gemini new moon, because it'll allow you to see both sides. It's pretty powerful stuff. And so when you're ready, you can extinguish this candle. We thank you for working through us to manifest this intention to bring us closer to source. So good. Okay. So now, what I want to, as I work with my wand, calling in energies, I'm doing this for you and for me. So I want you to imagine that everything you just set intention for is already arriving to you. Maybe it's arriving from the north. Maybe it's arriving from the south. Right? Maybe it's arriving from the west, and maybe it's arriving from the east. Wherever it's coming from, just know it's all ready. We've created space for it, and we are anchoring that energy in to the present moment. We are calling it in from the fourth dimension, from the fifth dimension, from the outer star dimension, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensions. We are anchoring those energies into this dimension, into 3D. And so one of the things you can do too, if you want to do this, you can pause this video and do it, then you can come back, is using a wand. You can actually draw on the matrix. And so let's say tonight, like, love was your intention. You know, using your wand to draw the words and to draw the pictures and the images and maybe your name and the name of what you love or who you love to, call love energies into you. Always remember that if you are setting intentions for another person, you have to be very careful that you don't work without their permission. You don't want to interrupt free will. That can create a lot of energetic problems for you. So what I always recommend is set intentions for you, and if they involve the energy of another person, leave that open. I always call it the wild card. You know, it's like, universe, send me exactly the right person to help me experience love on a deeper level, but don't say, dear universe, please send me Bob, because Bob may not want to come and be with you. And you don't want to interrupt Bob's free will, so you have to let Bob be. But the things that are within reach, and the things that are yours, and the things that you desire that don't interrupt free will, let's just create an open channel, a pathway tonight for all of those things to arrive to you, as I said, in perfect time. They're already on their way. If you want it, it's because it also wants you. Isn't that beautiful? Honestly, that's probably the most important thing I will tell you all night tonight. If you want something, it's because it also wants you. But can you believe? Can you trust? Okay. Once again, anchoring those energies in to third dimensional space and time. I'm going to take both the crystals I worked with tonight. I'm going to anoint them one more time with my perfume. Gemstones and essential oils and perfumes go beautifully together. I absolutely believe they are destined to work together. Your crystals love getting a little bath in your essential oils, and it really does add, every time you add energy to something, we call it a level of correspondence, and it makes your magic stronger. So working with a stone is powerful, but then when you work with a stone and a crystal, that's a layer of correspondence. A stone, a crystal, and a candle, it's 2 layers of correspondence. Then you work under a specific astrological sign, Gemini new moon, that's another layer of correspondence. If we were to do this and time it with the right hour of day and the right day of the week, and you can keep adding layers and layers and layers of correspondence to the work that you do. So I always say, some people only like to work with essential oils and perfumes, and some people only like to work with stones, but if you like both, use both. They're synergistic. They're meant to work together. And so we ask that the guides of this moon phase transfer any wisdom to these crystals that we're not ready or prepared to work with yet. We give you permission to continue to communicate with us through these tools. We give thanks for their presence and the energy that they provide. Amen, aho, and so it is. And a nice way to seal your intentions, lots of different ways to do it. The number 3 is really powerful. So saying a mantra, saying something 3 times seals it. You can say, it is done, it is done, it is done. Right now. You can say, thank you, thank you, thank you, which is a very simple but very powerful gratitude mantra. Or you can say, it is on its way, it is on its way, it is on its way. Or I receive, I receive, I receive. I allow, I allow, I allow. I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. Any beautiful mantras like that are going to support your manifestation work. You can also talk about what you just set an intention to manifest as if it's already on its way or you already have it. So instead of saying, I would really like to be a successful author, what you say is, I am a successful author. And then you add details to that. I'm a successful author. I'm a best-selling author. My book is in the top 10 on Amazon.com. Whatever your criteria are, that's just an example. Or I am happily married. My husband and I have a beautiful relationship. We enjoy each other's company. Like really getting into what it would feel like, using lots of descriptive adjectives. And as you're talking about things as they've already happened, allow yourself to feel the joy. What does it feel like to be a best-selling author? What does it feel like to be in love? What does it feel like to experience peace? What does it feel like to, heal your relationship with your grown children? What does it feel like to, finally be able to grieve the loss of a parent? What does it feel like to finally be relieved of guilt from something you've been carrying around for 20 years, right? Like really allow yourself, I am healed, I am whole, I am well. I am healed, I am whole, I am well. And allowing yourself to feel how beautiful that is. Because believe it or not, this is where it gets really complicated with intention setting and manifestation, but it's not enough to say you want something. The first principle, Hermetic principle, is all is mental, mentalism, right? And it seems so simple. If I think about it, it'll happen, right? But mentalism is much deeper than that. If you think about it, then you'll create a vibration. That vibration will attract people, places, and things to you. Once those people, places, and things come to you, you will then, your physical reality will adjust to accommodate them, and then all of a sudden you have the thing. Everything starts as a thought, but then the process itself requires these other events and these other actions to take place. It's not just thinking about it. It's not just putting a picture on a vision board. It's the embodiment, it's the emotion, it's the experience that brings the energy to life and sets such a strong frequency that when that frequency goes out in the universe, it can't help but attract what it is that you seek. Pretty awesome, isn't it? This universe that we live in. I'm consistently and continually amazed by it. All right. Great Spirit, guides and guardians who have supported us tonight, we give thanks. I ask that every intention set by anyone watching now and who will watch later come to pass in perfect time and in divine alignment with all beings on this planet at this time. And you should always set that too. You should always only want to manifest something if it's going to support the greater good. That's how you know you're going to create something of value that's lasting and that will make a contribution to the planet and not just to your own personal well-being and happiness. After all, it's not just about us, right? We're here to caretake this planet and make sure it's in good shape for the ones coming behind us. I hope. We are so thankful for this glorious new moon. Guides and guardians of the Northern Gateway, we thank you for the presence of the ancestors, for the wisdom and protection. During this ritual, we release you. Guardians of the Western Gateway, we thank you for the emotional support, for helping us feel into the experience of having what we seek so that we can manifest it in an even stronger, more powerful way. We release you. Guardians of the Southern Gateway, thank you for the courage and the stamina to do this work, to be able to fiercely ask for what we desire, trusting that it's coming in perfect time. We give thanks and release you. And then Guardians of the Eastern Gateway, this is a new day. And so as we welcome this duality, work with it, honor it, acknowledge it, and ultimately integrate it, we give thanks for the blessings that are already on their way. And we release you from your service to the circle. And so it is. Another new moon in the books. Write your intentions down in a notebook. Promise me you will, because at the end of the year, at winter solstice, I like to go back through my notebook and sort of take an inventory. What came to pass, what intentions manifested, which ones did not. And sometimes you'll see they didn't manifest right away. It took time. Sage Goddess incubated in my heart and soul for years before it ever was a thing. So when people say to me, well, I lit that candle once, but it didn't happen, or I set an intention for 2 whole months and nothing happened, you may have to wait years. Some people wait a decade. It's Spirit's time and not yours. And a lot of times when you're waiting and expecting, it's like the universe waits for you to be in a place of patience and then it grants you what it is that you seek. So try to be in a place of excited patience, right? Let the universe unfold in its time. Don't intervene, right? We make mistakes when we intervene. We have to trust the process. If you knew how to fix the problems in your life, you would have fixed them already. If they're really going to hand it over to source, hand it over to source. What is the saying? Give it to God and go to bed kind of thing, and learn to surrender to a higher force. It's always working on your behalf. Yahoo. Thank you so much for being here. New moon blessings, everyone. I will look so forward to seeing you soon. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of this evening and the time that you have. I hope that everything that you did here tonight serves you well, and not just tonight, but going forward the whole next lunar cycle and even into the next year. I'll see you soon.